Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. Once again, I am Bradley, and joining me this week, he's not had any lockdown parties, he's not had to have a redacted report done about him, he's not even caused an issue with Spotify. He's an all-round good guy. It's Stu. How you doing, Stu?
I'm alright, yeah, but you don't know I haven't done any of those things. That's just what you're assuming. But, you know, there ain't no party like a number 10 party, so... Well,
number 10 party's a surprise cake ambush.
Oh, so, yeah. No, it's not a party, sorry. Yeah. Give Johnson the Boris of the Doubt, I was going to say that. The Boris of the Doubt.
Would that have worked? It's like... Would that have worked for us, going, well, do you know what? It's my house. I didn't know there was like 30-odd people in my house having a party, and it was a surprise. It just wouldn't work.
I know, right?
If you used ice hockey rules, right, in ice hockey rules, you can accidentally hit someone in the face with a stick, right, accidentally, and you still get a 2-minute penalty for high sticking because you're responsible for that stick.
Yes.
Surely that should be the same when it comes to parties in your house. It's your house, you're responsible.
Well, of course. And the funny thing is that in every area of life, you know, whether it's parenting or whether it's school or whether it's, you know, a job that you're employed in, the rules are always the same. You're the one you've got to have accountability for these things. It's like you either start them as a positive thing or you stop them because it's a negative thing. Either way, it's on you. So, yeah, it's bananas. But I can't... The fact that he's still there after all this pressure, to me, is unbelievable. I can't get my head around it.
Because he's Teflon. He is Teflon. Even Trump hasn't lasted.
I know.
But yeah, it's weird. And then, you know, NFTs, Joe Rogan. It's all fun and games in these political worlds at the moment.
It is, yeah. It's really easy for me because I'm just like, no, not watching that. No, not listening to them. No, can't be bothered with that. It's just, they're all scum to me. So I stay well clear.
Yeah, it's why I've been just heading to pinball tables, mainly.
It's a lovely new obsession.
Yes. Do you know what else isn't political but can be political? It depends on the game.
Games?
Video games.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about video games, Stu.
Yeah, let's do it.
You go first.
Yeah, so the first one I've been playing, I'll start like I normally do with the retro-ish thing that I've been playing first, and that one is Dynamite Headdy. So
wow,
this is it's a Mega Drive game from 1994, for those who don't know, and it's fantastic. I've played it before, but it's one of those that I'm like, it's so far in the past and my memory's so crap, and is it peas on Tuesday sort of situation that I never know whether I've played them through or whether I've just touched on them or played it at a mate's house
or even just seen it somewhere.
Yeah, it was on Games Master and I just saw it there. But I think, you know, I've definitely had a blooming good go of it in the past, but never played it, you know, properly. It's just brilliant. It's unbelievable to look at, like really unbelievable to look at. And I know because I've been playing a lot of Mega Drive games, and the early ones look how you remember the Mega Drive to be. Yeah. So you're kind of like, oh yeah, it's quite pleasant. You know, it didn't look as good as the arcades, but it was still nice. And then you play Dynamite Headdy, which was, you know, towards the end of the Mega Drive's life, and it's just amazing. It's got tons of parallax. It's got like fake 3D that they've done with sprites. You know, it's got gigantic sprites as well. It's just unbelievable to look at. It's like a moving cartoon. It reminds me of a cross between sort of Cuphead and Parodius.
Yes.
And it's by Treasure, who were ex-Konami staff, so that's not surprising with the whole Parodius thing, you know? And it's a bit meta as well. One of the earliest meta video games, really, I guess, because it's all referenced that it's not real what you're doing. It's like Act 1, Act 2, and it's got like stage sets that you're playing against and stuff like that.
Just like Mario.
Yeah. And it's just a wonderful game. Bright, colourful, really good controls. It's just most of it's a platformer where you throw your head to grab stuff, and then you know, a bit like Captain Commando, but you can get different heads that do have weapon abilities or different flying abilities and stuff. And there are even like side-scrolling sections, and that bit sort of reminds you of Yoshi's Story a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fantastic game, and it's an all-time classic and probably an all-time great.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. It's I remember getting this out of a shop called, I think that's Entertainment a while back. Oh, obviously a while back in the Mega Drive days, and being told, this is, it's not as good as Sonic, but it's a bit like Sonic if you like Sonic. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give that a go. And yeah, I remember really enjoying it. And the 16-bit games have aged better than I think any other generation has.
Yes.
Dynamite Headdy, I remember when I first played Rayman on the PlayStation, that it didn't look, there's something about the original Rayman that reminded me of Dynamite Headdy, and it felt like the developers of Rayman had played Dynamite Headdy, realised it probably wasn't as popular as what people might think, and could get away with making something in that vein. When in the days where everything had to be new, like especially when you're going on the PlayStation. But yeah, Dynamite Headdy, it looks beautiful, it plays wonderfully as well, and it is probably one of the more lesser known of the mascot platformers, and it doesn't deserve to be.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just probably a complete victim of being out right at the end of the Mega Drive's life and right at the beginning of the PlayStations. And who was going to go out and spend 40 quid back in 1994 money, which would be about like 70 quid today, on Dynamite Headdy when you're desperately trying to save up for Ridge Racer and Alien Trilogy and Wipeout on your brand new PlayStation, and
rightly so, because 3D then, I mean, it's hard for people to gather what it meant going 3D at the time.
Yeah, it is.
So it's I was as guilty as anyone going, I don't want these 2D games.
Yeah. Well, precisely. Well, it's got to be something that's gorgeous, but it's kind of it's old. It's running on old hardware versus something that you've absolutely never seen before in your life. It's an absolute, it's a complete wash. You're never going to choose the older thing, even if it is. Dynamite Headdy is so many orders of magnitude better than Alien Trilogy. It's not even funny. Yeah. Or Battle Arena Toshinden or any of the stuff that came.
Die Hard Trilogy.
Came out. Die Hard Trilogy. But one of those that, it's worth going back to in retrospect and going, God, this is fantastic. And also, the final thing I have to say on it is when you compare it against SNES stuff, it actually holds its own, like some of the later Mega Drive ones do. Because it was really weird going back to playing the SNES a few weeks, couple of months back, and then coming onto the Mega Drive later. I couldn't believe how big a gap there was between like early SNES stuff and early Mega Drive stuff, and the gap definitely narrowed because they put a lot of effort into the Mega Drive development. But early days, it was night and day. I mean, Mario World was a release title and F-Zero, and they both blow away anything that came out on the MD. So it was nice to see that over the course of the Mega Drive's life, they wrung so much out of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think what you've got with all this now, I think what we're beginning to say is a testament to what the 16-bit era was. Where you look at, if I was to name me what's the best modern Sonic, the answer is Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
And that comes a lot of it down to they nailed the mechanics in the early days, and it visually still looks amazing. The old Sonic games, original Sonic 1, 2, 3 still look amazing. Sonic Mania looks great, whereas you look at the 3D Sonics or even some of the other attempts at 2D Sonic with 3D elements and snazzy graphics, don't quite hold up. There's a reason why Super Mario Maker went for the 16 and 8-bit aesthetics rather than trying to go all in on 3D and stuff like that, because they held up so much better. And I would honestly love to see a bunch of studios get together, work it out in some way, and do a 16-bit maker of take like all the popular characters and games from different 16-bit era games. So Earthworm Jim, Dynamite Headdy, James Pond, all those sort of characters. Take the assets from their games, obviously HD them up a bit so they do work on big TVs, and let people have at it within these creations and make like just levels of everything. So use James Pond assets to make a Dynamite Headdy game, or I know Nintendo and Sega probably wouldn't get into bed with something like this, but being able to put Earthworm Jim into Super Mario World like levels and stuff like that, and changing all the mechanics up based on the characters or what have you, because I think those games, those 16-bit eras, are so interchangeable in terms of the overall mechanics are based around the same core concepts. It's just what they've done with them. But I think you could do stuff that's really cool with them that you couldn't do, I think, with any other genre in any other era of gaming.
Yeah. You can go to the community for some of that sort of stuff. There's, ROM hacks and the like, and I'm not sure, I don't think there's one that blends the characters, but, they're actually, funnily enough, I was watching a video yesterday on YouTube recommending Sonic hacks, and I think one of the last ones was Gex the Gecko in a Sonic world, and it played completely different. So that sort of thing does exist, but Mugen, where it's fighting games, does that, where it mixes all of the fighting game characters of the era into different, into one great big game. And that's a really brilliant thing as well. So yes, it's lovely. It would be lovely to see that, especially as a lot of them could be interchangeable in each other's worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many little things you could do to set up like different types of creator competitions and so on and so forth. And I've always, even from when I was younger, going, I'd love to see like Sonic in a Mario game or Mario in a Sonic game. That'll never happen though, obviously, because Sega and Nintendo can't work together.
How naive we were, yeah.
I know. Maybe put them together in a game about, the show they can do it. I mean, they do the Olympic stuff, which is fine. I like that. But Smash Brothers shows that I think the next Mario Kart or the next Mario Maker, Nintendo have got the clout. Maybe get together with Microsoft and go, look, let's fund this. Let's create the next Smash Brothers that's not a fighting game. Because you've got, the genres are there. You can do it.
Yeah. What have you been playing?
And so, very quick one from me. And I said here's a quick one first. I've been playing some Card Fighters Clash.
Nice.
On the Switch. Got sent a code for, it's one of the I think it comes under Neo Geo Classics or whatever it is, but it's on that brand of re-released Neo Geo Pocket colour games that got released on the Switch. Now, I had been playing this via emulator because I had this when I had a Neo Geo Pocket colour. I had Pocket Fighters Clash and I really enjoyed it. No clue what I was doing, but I just really enjoyed it. Pretty much the same for me. I still don't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm probably not min-maxing my strategies properly or anything like that, but I don't care. But it's just like the Metal Slug classics that they did that was on the Neo Geo. Perfect recreations, absolutely spot on. They've done not much to it, and it's priced accordingly. It's not overly expensive, and it's got the brilliant emulator options. So you've got shaders and overlays. You can have like I like to put on my carbon fiber Neo Geo Pocket skin on it because that's what I had. And then you can do that. You can have it really small, or you can zoom the screen in and all stuff like that, or you can just turn it off and have it full screen. Really good emulation options. It's a card battling game. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and stuff like that, and the Pokemon card games. It's just one of them, except with, Capcom Neo Geo type characters from the fighting games and stuff like that. It's just really, really good. It's a lot more simplistic than a lot of them that you get, which I really like. And as I said, I don't understand the min-max inside of it, and I probably should have better strategies. But like a lot of games of that era, I played against the AI, and that's all I had to beat. So you could cheese it where you had to and what have you. And I just like picking it up and just popping it on. It's just fun.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I really enjoyed playing that. I think I played it on emulator. I didn't play it on my Neo Geo Pocket Color because it was too hard to get hold of. And I got rid of the Pocket Color before they started bringing out the multi-cart things, which is how I've been playing Dynamite Headdy, But yeah, no, it's a really good fun game, and I'm not even into that card game type thing very much, but it's a laugh.
Yeah, but it's the game that got me interested in card games. If it wasn't for Card Fighters Pocket Clash, that's the thing, the titles get wrong. It's got more than 4 words in it, so I get my head mixed up on what the actual titles are. But if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have even given the likes of Slay the Spire or Monster Train the time of day.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it and gone, no, I can't do that. But it showed me like learning how... It doesn't matter how in-depth the games are. If you can learn the core concepts, you can get through these games.
Yes, yeah.
Brilliant game.
Lovely.
So, what's next for you?
Well, as promised last week, which I forgot to do last week, but I promised I would do this week, I've been playing Windjammers 2. And so that's the sequel to the original on the Neo Geo AES and MVS, the arcade version. And it's really good. I mean, the title is really funny. It's like, when you you make a joke about a sport and you make up like a stupid name for it, like calling footy like kick sphere or something like that. And it's like, well, what would you call ultimate frisbee? Oh, windjammers. It always makes me laugh anyway. But yeah, it's basically ultimate frisbee type thing with special powers and special moves, and it's very sort of simple to control, although they've added more control options to it than there were in the original. So there's now, like, I can't, you see, it's a while since I played the original, but this one has got like a dedicated drop button, a slap button, which is just kind of like, if you time it right, you can hit back the frisbee like really quickly, but your timing has to be right on. Instead of catching it and then throwing it, you got a throw button, you got a jump button, you got a special move button, which sounds like a lot, but it isn't. It works really, really well. And it's just, it keeps all of the stuff from the original, but adds a load of nice little gameplay tweaks that don't make it particularly more complicated, but, you know, keep that level of fun of an invented sport right in there and making it approachable. And it looks lovely. I was really pleasantly surprised. It kind of looks a bit like Streets of Rage 4. It's got that similar kind of design aesthetic. It looks like cut out kind of paper drawings rather than being completely slick animation and stuff like that, and not rounded. You know, it kind of looks cartoonish and comic booky, and yeah, it's really good fun. It's on Game Pass. You can't really lose having a go with it, to be honest.
No, it feels like a traditional arcade game.
Yeah,
but we're taking out the part of the arcade game that we spoke about before where it just wants you to put money in, so it makes it difficult. It's managed to balance it really, really well for what is a newer generation, and in all the right ways. I've played it a few times. I used it to try out some of the Xbox xCloud stuff, but it works really well on there. I've got it locally on the PC via Game Pass. It's just a really fun game, and I'll probably pick it up on Switch when it's on sale as well. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's one that I think I may well pay for on Switch.
Yeah.
Because it really does deserve to be on a handheld for the dip in and dip out experience. Yeah.
I'll tell you how good it is. Like with a description of something else. I've decided to have a quick look back at Disc Jam, which came out, I want to say 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So there was a period, I think you had like Jeff Gerstmann at Giant Bomb when Giant Bomb was still caring about what they was doing. He was speaking about Windjammers, and it seemed to get really popular after he was going on about it and played some on an Unprofessional Friday. Then Disc Jam came out, and that was being played. And I played Disc Jam, and I was like, oh, this is really good. Yeah, it does remind me of Windjammers. And it was like, part of me was going, just like trying to make excuses, going, well, I've not played Windjammers for ages, and, you know, it scratches that itch. It's really good. Yeah, do you know what? It's good. And then I kind of just bounced off it for other stuff and never really went back. Played Windjammers 2, and Windjammers 2 is essentially just Windjammers evolved, which is all it needed to be. And I tried Disc Jam again, and dear God, it's night and day.
Right.
Windjammers is, you know, it's your Ferrari, and, you know, Disc Jam is, yeah, your 1990s style Skoda where they're functional, but no one really wants one.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that it kind of has that appeal. Well, Windjammers does, not the other one. Because, I was really impressed. And I think that if it's got that level of accessibility, fun, you know, it's bright and it's a little bit kind of over the top, but with good underlying mechanics, which it has got, it's going to reach a big audience. And, of course, the first one never did because it was only ever available in the arcade, or if you owned an AES, and nobody did because they cost the same amount as a house.
Yeah. So. Yeah, if you can afford an arcade, you can afford Windjammers. Otherwise, nah. But what I like about Windjammers, and especially the new one, I'm glad they went with this, it reminds me of the sort of characters you like, talking about like the 16-bit with yours, talking about Card Fighters. It reminds me of the sort of characters you saw in like Capcom and Neo Geo style arcade cabinets. So your Street Fighter, your King of the Fighters, Super Sidekicks, those sort of like games. It's that they look like that, and they all feel like, you look at it and just go, yeah, I know what that's come from.
Yes.
They feel part of that family, and it's warm and comforting.
Yeah, which is as it should be, really, because you can't dismiss the sort of nostalgia factor about it, because would it have got made and would it have been as good if it didn't have the originator? Probably not. And would it have looked the way that it does? Again, it's doubtful. So you got to think, well, it wouldn't, if it wasn't propped up on the shoulders of people who remembered it from their childhood or wanted to have it in their childhood, who couldn't buy the original in their childhood, then you probably wouldn't have the game at all. So it's worked out well for everyone in the end, I think.
Yeah, just a couple of last points for me to pick out with Windjammers 2. One, it took forever to come out, and I'm pleased about that, because it means, from what I could tell, no crunch. There was no pressure to get it done. So good. And secondly, what feels like's happened with it, it feels like at some point they've probably tried adding lots and lots of different mechanics or what have you to the game, and someone's gone in and gone, scale that back a bit. And that's what they've done. Yeah. Because there are points where I'm playing it and going, this feels like it wants to do more, but doesn't in a good way. So it feels like instead of going, look, here's press this button and this button and this button to do this combo, it's gone, actually, why do we need 5 buttons to do this combo when just one will do? And it's then trying to find ways of making those combos or those special moves easier to do. So, really like what they've done with it. I like the time they've taken. The game came out when it was good and ready. It plays really well. It doesn't feel like it needs patching up to the eyeballs. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I'm glad you're enjoying it as well, because I say I've not played it as much as I want to yet, because I've been catching up with 18 months worth of games that I've been stockpiling. But we'll have a competition. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a friendly MHG competition next week sometime, and then we'll get it recorded and popped up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll probably get battered, but that's fine. I don't mind being the chump.
I'm blind, so
well, there is that.
I'll let you know a day when my vision's really not good, and you can choose that day to battle me.
Awesome. Yes, I wish more people would pick their worst days for me to compete against them.
And then go, oh crap, I still lost.
yeah. Just to wait for it. I will.
It wasn't meant to be like this.
Yeah.
But anyway, from the bright colours and beaches and stadiums of Windjammers 2, we're going down into the dark, murky depths of Hidden Deep on the PC. Now, Hidden Deep it's an early access game at the moment, but you obviously you can go and pick it up. It's from Cogwheel Software and produced by Daedalic Entertainment. Now, Daedalic Entertainment I find is a weird one. They either have really good games or they have what feels like cheap cash-ins or not even like asset flips at times. They're just a really odd publishing arm.
Yeah.
So I kind of took this on with a bit of trepidation. But all I can say is it's as though these guys who have made this were listening in to the pitch meeting for Metroid Dread, but didn't get to listen to all of what Metroid Dread was, went off and made their own thing and did something really good with it.
All right.
So what you've got here, it's a like, so basically you're in this almost like this like underground subaquatic mining colony type thing. You're going down, you're going through all like the cave systems and stuff like that. And you've got to work your way through to do various different missions. And then there's like these weird alien-style enemies that are in there that stalk you and attack you. Like they use the shadows really well and come out of you from nowhere. And it's kind of, there's an influence of it, I would say, from like late 70s sci-fi stuff. So Aliens, the lesser known The Deep, those kind of things. And what's that one with the weird water effects?
The Abyss.
The Abyss, yeah. Like elements of that in there as well. Gaming point of view, so yeah, Metroid Dread, some Half-Life in there as well. And it's a really sort of like atmospheric, I don't want to say Metroidvania because it's not a Metroidvania, but it's kind of got that feel to the aesthetics and how you move around and things like that. But it's not a Metroidvania. But yeah, you go in there and sort of like you feel like you're being stalked at all times while you're trying to carry out these missions and move through the levels. You're moving with your left stick and you aim with it as well. You've got to be almost like good with your shots. You've got to time your gunshots well, otherwise, you're quickly going to be pounced upon by these enemies. You use like rappelling ropes to get down into darker areas and further deeper. And you just go down, further down, and it's just everything about the atmosphere within this game is what does it. If you just take the atmosphere out of this game, you pretty much have bog standard platformer with shooting in it. But they slowed things down. This is what they've done really well. They slowed things down so you feel like you're on edge all the time and that you're not moving quick enough to be able to just get through it, but not slow enough that you feel bored or you're kept in. They've got the pacing balance of this game spot on. And it's good to see someone going, instead of going, let's go up, let's go down instead and do this thing down in the depths. And I'm probably a couple of hours into it. There's more to come. It's an early access game. And part of their roadmap says there's like going to be more levels, more monsters and all stuff like that added to it. A level editor. More level editors, please. I think that's a great way of keeping a game going. But yeah, really, really, really good. Animations are really good. There's kind of a, I want to say a flashback influence to it. It doesn't look or play like flashback, but the animations of the character movement has that natural feel to it that flashback had. But yeah, really, 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 I don't want to say a good time because it's so tense that it's not a good time, but it's well worth checking out.
No, yeah, sounds okay. Visually, it doesn't look like much, but
no. But there's bits like you operate vehicles and stuff in it as well. So I suppose in a way, the designs of the vehicles, like they're like big yellow hulking things that you can use and control, remind me a little bit of the loader in Aliens.
Yeah,
but it kind of reminds me of that. They're definitely wearing their influences on their sleeves without going full on. This is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's co-op as well. There's co-op opportunities as well. I've only done single player, but there's so many levels to this game. Honestly, it's really, really like I'm not going too far into it because it's early access. I want to play the full experience, and I don't like going back when I've put 6, 7, 8 hours into this game and feel like I've completed it, and now I've got to go back and do it all again. So I've kind of just like played it and just tried to play it with my brain switched off, so I'm not taking it in. But it is really some of the animations in it, the atmosphere, just what make this game and show how important that stuff is.
Very good. Yeah, sounds good. I'll check it out, I think.
Yep. Any more from you, or shall I do my last one?
No, go ahead, because I've been playing a bunch of Mega Drive stuff, but I'll keep it, I'll spread it out over several weeks so I don't bore people.
Or we'll do a mega special.
Possibly.
So the other one I've been playing is, for me, more of a Metroidvania. And again, it's just a nice little take. It shows how much you can do with like just certain genres of games. So this one's called Dungeon Munchies, which is Metroidvania-ish, RPG-ish, pixel graphics, action, adventure, RPG stuff. Almost feels a bit Dead Cells in places, but its hook is you go through the levels and you kind of collect things like food and other bits, and you get different power-ups by cooking different recipes or mixing together different items into different things, and that gives you different boosts or weapons and power-ups and buffs and debuffs and all that. And then you sort of work your way through the level based on all of these. And yeah, it's interesting. It's just an interesting game again. Its aesthetic is like you're like some kind of weird demon-y type thing. This is why I'd never get the Games Master gig or anything like that. My way of describing stuff. But you're kind of like put on a thing by this like necro chef who's called Simmer. They've really led into the naming conventions in this game.
Sounds like it.
You go through and then you go there, you come against these checkpoints which are done like food trucks or market stalls, and you go, right, this is what I'll mix these together and this is what I've got. And you go through trying your different combinations. You're killing random enemies as you go, and then there's big bosses and mid bosses and all the usual trappings that you get in a Dead Cells, a Hollow Knight, Metroid, Castlevania, all those sort of things. But it blends together really well. I wouldn't say it's a best in genre by any stretch of the imagination, but again, if you like those sort of games, it scratches that itch. Bit like Neon Abyss did. It scratched that itch. It clearly wasn't Dead Cells. It was clearly trying to have a bit of Dead Cells to it, but it was fine for what it is, and this is pretty much the same. Came out a couple of years ago on PC, but it's recently just been released on Switch, which is where I'm playing it. And in terms of pick up and play as and when Switch fodder, without sounding like going for the usual cliche, perfect for Switch. Yeah, it's just, again, I think I've played what I consider just three just lovely experiences, lovely games. I mean, dark and weird and stuff like that, but just great times with all of them.
Sweet. Yeah, no, it's nice when they get on a roll like that. Yeah. Cool.
And the combat works really well. So just to point out with this one, the combat works really well. And I think, again, this is the sort of game where, yeah, the movement around the levels are all great, but if you're going to have bosses along with all this stuff, the combat, you've got to feel in control, especially when you're adding huge numbers of combinations of weapons that you can do. If you don't get that combat right, you fail the game. But yeah, combat in this feels really good as well. It feels fluid. It can feel brutal at times. And you do get your favourite weapons, but you also look forward to trying new weapons all the time. So you've got some mid-range weapons, some close-up weapons, some distance weapons. And yeah, does really well. I'd seen some people talk about it in terms of like comparing it to Cuphead, and that's a really weird comparison to me. You can't compare it to Cuphead in any way, shape or form. Dead Cells, yes. Cuphead, no. Give it a go. I like it.
Yeah, it looks nice. I might well pick that one up. Add it to the list.
Or speak to Uncle Phil if we can get it on Game Pass.
Oh, that would be nice.
Because apparently there's too many games.
I saw this, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
what's
crazy.
his name? He's a developer, isn't he? You said it. What's his name?
Can't remember.
There's not too many games. Do I want to give him credence? Who was it? There we go. I'm checking my notes. Jeff Vogel. That was it.
That's right.
No, there's not too many games. You don't have to play them all. I know that's hypocritical coming from me. But you don't have to play them all. And you can tell that he's made a game where he doesn't want competition because there's too many games, especially indies. Well, no.
No.
There's not too many
it's
games.
pretty blatant, isn't it, that he's just been like, oh, people stealing my lunch. It's like, well, that's capitalism, pal.
Yeah, you can't. Don't blame capitalism. Well.
Yeah, it's entirely capitalists' fault.
It's a free market. That's what capitalism wants. And in this free market, I chose not to play your games. I don't know who you actually are. I had to look up who you were, and you're not making the games I want to play. So, free market and all that.
Yeah, off you toddle. Leave us alone.
Yep. And the reason it's going to get even harder. You've got to make better games. If you want people to play your games, you've got to make better games now. Because money's not the issue anymore. It's time. Because it used to be, I can't decide, do I want to play this big AAA 40 to 150 hour extravaganza or play a little bit less for this 5 to 10 hour niche game? Well, now you've got the choice to try both. And if the better game is the cheaper, is the niche one, you're going to play that if it's better, whereas you're not having to decide with your wallet anymore. So you've got to make better games.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Absolutely, and if they're good enough, they'll get the recognition they deserve and the sales they deserve. So yeah, exactly.
But it's why I like talking up the good ones that I've played in indies, because they don't get recognised, because they still do. The only problem they still have, they don't have the marketing budget. So it's why, again, I like to talk them up and say, I maybe overpraise them at times. People may have noticed I could go overboard with my praise sometimes, but it's I feel they need it some of the time because they need to get that exposure. It's like Ecstasy. Mixolumia, I think, should be played by more and more people because they are two of the best modern puzzle games to have come out, and they deserve an audience. Ecstasy's on sale on the Switch at the moment, by the way, so pick that up. But they don't get the audience because, I'm not complaining, they're not Tetris.
Yeah. So
they're not going to get that audience because they're not Tetris or the like. So it's, they need bigging up. But too many of those games? No, I'll just play the ones I like, thank you. And if it's not, then so be it.
Absolutely, I agree.
Don't buy Ubisoft games, though.
No.
You can start buying Activision soon. I don't know anymore.
We'll tell you when you can.
Yeah. Not until we... I don't know anymore. I'm at a loss. I was going through and like going, oh, looking at some sales, going, I could get that. Oh, no, it's Activision. Oh, wait, is that okay now? I don't know. No, is it okay?
Not yet.
Because it doesn't matter in terms of like what other people think. But probably with myself, I'm going, it's still going to Bobby Kotick, and I don't want to give Bobby Kotick money, but he's going to get a big payoff anyway. And it's going to be better, hopefully, maybe. I'm still not buying an Ubisoft game. I do want to try that bike one. I could pirate it. I'm not going to pirate it because I can't be asked. But I do want to play that biking one that they've recently made. So maybe if they sort themselves out, I'll know when. And it's just, that's how my mind works.
Yep. Well, you're trying to be good, aren't you? You're trying to make sure that you don't support and fund the bad people. So it's worth thinking about, definitely.
Yeah. And it just shows, I don't think it matters who you are. It's as much as I'm not going to use Sports Direct, we've been forced into it at times because it's just that much cheaper for certain bits. And it's like, I've got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm still eating, I'm eating Mars bars and Maltesers and stuff like that. I know Nestle are scum.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it's... you've got to be you can't help but be a hypocrite at times.
Yep, it's the only way you can exist in this society, unfortunately.
Unless I go and live in the woods, then I couldn't play video games. So,
Well, that's what your Switch is for.
Yeah, but you need an online connection for some of it still.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So I'll live in the woods as long as I've got Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a slightly shorter one today. It's not very much shorter. It's, still a decent conversation about a hefty number of games. But we're cutting it off there, and hope you have a great week. By the time you're listening to this, it will be Saturday, and the weekend will be stretched out in front of you. So hope you enjoy that. If you're having any issues, we always encourage you to join our Discord channel so you can talk them through. But it's also loads of fun conversation on there as well, of course. Apart from that, follow us on all of the usual socials. We've been putting more content up on YouTube as well. And apart from that, in the meantime, stay safe and stay sane.